I have a weird update when it comes to Snow White Disney live action remake star Rachel Zegler. She continues to be a PR nightmare for Walt Disney Studios and for the film itself. 'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side. Hi everyone, my name is Jacob Airy. Welcome to the StudioJake vidcast where I talk about all things pop culture. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell so you get notifications when I post a new vidcast, and consider becoming a channel member. So just to give you a little bit of backstory to the Rachel Zegler saga, and yes, I know I'm a little behind on this story, but I wanted to see if anything explosive happened. And while nothing explosive technically happened, it just made things worse. So Rachel Zegler, she did several disastrous interviews, sometimes with her co-star Gal Gadot, who plays the evil queen, the evil stepmother in the live-action film. And let's be real, Gal Gadot should have been Snow White, but whatever. Where she called the prince a stalker. She called him weird. That's where that meme came from. She also disparaged the original film, saying that it was scary, that she didn't like the ride at Disney World, and a whole host of insane statements. And that also wasn't helped by a leaked photo that saw, instead of dwarves, they were just going to have 7 homeless people, I guess. And later, Disney kind of backtracked and said, no, that they were just stand-in for the CGI. They're not actually going to play the 7 dwarves. And of course, the dwarf situation wasn't helped with Peter Dinklage. You know, he's a great actor, but like most celebrities, he's got to dig down into identity politics for some reason, where he criticized Disney for casting humans with dwarfism as dwarves, completely confusing the fact that dwarves in fantasy are something different than humans with dwarfism. As a result, Disney decided to do CGI dwarves, also because of that leaked photo, mind you, I suspect. And they looked terrible in the trailer. When the trailer was released, it looked awful. Snow White is singing Whistle While You Work, but instead of she cleaning the house for what she thinks are orphans, she's forcing the dwarves to do it. So she breaks into their house and then forces them to clean it. Absolutely ridiculous. And then Zegler also, because of how people were talking about how Gadot should have been Snow White, she posted a photo, I think in support of, some political cause, as these celebrities like to do, and added the caption, "Still the fairest," as she was doing something on Broadway. This PR nightmare continues to haunt Disney, as a recent Variety interview with her shows. And I'm going to break down that interview and how I think it'll affect the film. So this is according to piratesandprincesses.net. Every time she opens her mouth, it gets worse. Rachel Zegler just did a Variety interview about playing Juliet on Broadway, but found a way to smirk about Disney adults when speaking about Snow White. Between Disney ditching actors with dwarfism and Zegler's commentary, Disney really should consider shelving this film. The Variety author isn't doing Disney any favors with their fans either, leading with a title that calls the fans toxic and using terms like vitriol and Disney adult throughout the article. All of this is not helping their case. She, of course, made some comments about the obvious reasons that some think her casting was off. This fact that Snow White was called that because she was white as snow. She then smirked about how she loved the 1997 Cinderella movie with Whitney Houston and Brandy, as did many, and made a comment that implied that she was smarter as a child than adults are now. I grew up in a house where that was Cinderella. Obviously, we watched the cartoon, but a child's mind is the most amazing thing, where it's like, okay, that's Cinderella, but the blonde haired, blue eyed, blue dressed Cinderella from the 1950s cartoon is also Cinderella. Also, Hilary Duff is Cinderella in A Cinderella Story. She smirks. I was able to comprehend those things at a young age. While I agree with what she is saying, the smirk and the way she states it is where the issues lie. Her attitude is a big part of why people don't want to see this film. Many have commented on her snark or sarcasm, which the interviewer conveyed by describing her expression as she spoke. Disney has been seeing a huge drop in the audience for live-action versions of animated films. The Little Mermaid just recently cost them millions. It seems that the Disney story will now be different from the original film in regard to what fairest of them all means, and Snow White's role as a leader. She also doesn't need a man in this version. Overall, it is significantly removed from the original film and story. The character won't be named Snow White for her skin as white as snow, but instead for a snowstorm. It fell back to another version of Snow White that was told in history, where she survived a snowstorm that occurred when she was a baby, and so the king and queen decided to name her Snow White to remind her of her resilience. One of the core points in our film for any young woman or young person is remembering how strong you actually are. The traditional story on which the film was based named the character after her skin tone. In true Rachel Zegler fashion, she uses the backlash to spin a narrative that somehow it's all because women are kept down. When asked about the backlash to her comments about how the original film was weird and the prince literally stalked Snow White, she said, "In all honesty, it made me sad that it was taken in such a way because I believe that women can do anything." Okay, as an aside, what does that have to do with your comments, you weirdo? Anyway, continuing on. But I also believe that they can do everything. I would never want to box someone in and say, if you want love, then you can't work, or if you want to work, then you can't have a family. It's not true. It's never been true. It can be very upsetting when things get taken out of context or jokes don't land. The love story is very integral. A lot of people wrote that we weren't doing that storyline anymore. We were always doing that. It just wasn't what we were talking about on that day. Previously, she said that the film is really not about the love story at all. She said that it is about Snow White's inner journey to find her true self. At D23 in 2022, she implied that she had a say in the story and it was completely removed from the original to write out true love and focus on self. I just mean that it's no longer 1937. We absolutely wrote a Snow White that she's not going to be saved by the prince and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's going to be dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be and that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true. These comments have toxic Disney adults worried about the film. The film has been in development for years with delays and changes. The backlash over the dwarves, as well as comments from the lead actress, have gone a long way to turn off fans for this film. Brand experts have even discussed the damages done by her comments. At last check, the budget for this film has gone up to over $300 million and possibly higher. This is before marketing. The film will probably need to do 650 to 700 million to break even, and honestly, it could need more. The Little Mermaid made about 570 million and Disney lost about 5 million. People are over the live action remakes. They are tired of being called toxic or Disney adults over Snow White. So go on over to piratesandprincess.net and read the rest of the story for yourself. Yeah, I mean, just as a marketing person, I've been professionally involved in marketing on the social media side, on the digital organic side for well over a decade now. I can tell you, if I was Disney, they should just shove this film onto Disney Plus and call it a day. Now, I know that would disappoint Rachel Zegler because her ego is the size of Mount Kilimanjaro, but it's just a fact. She has been a disaster for Disney, and this Variety article didn't help. She is perceived as a woke, spoiled brat who is throwing hissy fits when she doesn't get her way. And let me just say that celebrities, their glimmer that they had, from the early 2000s and past that is gone. It's over. We have social media now, so we get to see what idiots Mark Ruffalo and Mark Hamill are in real time. These guys know nothing about politics or anything. Their influence over us is starting to wane, and I am happy about that. They are smug elitists who do not deserve our time of day, and Zegler is no different. It doesn't matter. No one cares. And Zegler, as we watch her make these smug interviews where she's like blaming the fans, just like Disney used to do, I think that Disney just needs to shove Snow White onto Disney Plus and call it a day. They can't afford any more losses like the ones they've been taking, especially after Wish, Strange Worlds, Lightyear, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, and the list goes on and on. They have failed to introduce identity politics and this whole idea of attacking the fans for not liking these remakes is preposterous. And it's so crazy to me because, yeah, I've seen the Whitney Houston Cinderella. It wasn't meant to be a remake of the Disney version. It was its own thing, and it is quite good. I have seen it. It's very good. There's nothing wrong with someone taking a fairy tale and changing it to how they want to do. Just don't get mad if people don't like it. And the Whitney Houston one is very good. It's very well made. Whitney Houston was a fabulous actress and a very talented singer. The issue is they're remaking their own properties. It's not like they're going to take a fairy tale that they've never done before and put a new spin on it like they did with The Princess and the Frog. That's why no one complained about that. They hadn't done The Princess and the Frog before, so they decided, hey, we're going to take this fairy tale and we're going to put a Disney spin on it and change how the prince and the princesses are, especially since that fairy tale is so short. No one complained about that. No one made any statements about that. It's the fact that they keep taking their own properties, and Disney fans or Disney adults, whatever you want to call them, are upset with the changes, and that is okay. Fans, do not let these elite celebrities who partied with Diddy and Harvey Weinstein lecture to you about toxicity. Do not let them gaslight you over that or make you feel guilty. Enough. They do not have the moral high ground, and do not let them tell you anything. And Rachel Zegler is no different. She is a spoiled brat who is throwing a fit because she's not getting her way. That is all this is. It's got nothing to do with you or your opinion on the Snow White remake. Remember that. And it is okay for you to say, I don't like this. And I just want to say, as an aside about Disney adults, these folks get a bad rap. A lot of them are millennials like me, and a lot of us, we grew up loving these things, especially me, because I'm such a big supporter of animation, particularly 2D animation. I love watching Disney movies and seeing how the hard work that these animators put into these films, only for them to be squandered by a bunch of identity politics, woke, obsessed morons who are creatively bankrupt. So instead of making their own thing, they have to steal. And when they try to make their own thing, like with Strange Worlds, they fail on every level because they can't even slap on some branding. So listen, if you're a Disney adult, enjoy Disney. I collect comic books, so, I know how it is. I was a nerd before it was cool, so I get what you're going through. Relax. If you like to go to Disneyland, go to Disneyland. Post about it on social media. Let the haters chit chat. Social media isn't real life, and certainly what goes on in the mainstream media isn't real life. Always double check that. Now, one final word about Rachel Zegler. Disney does probably need to just shelve this and completely remake it. They just need to take the loss, because Zegler has done too much damage to the brand with her constant snarkiness, her sarcasm, her meanness, quite frankly. She wants to call us vitriolic. I've never met a person who produces so much vitriol as an actor or an actress who stars in a Disney property. You look about Ewan McGregor doing a video from his car attacking Star Wars fan, a guy I used to respect as an actor, and he's a talented actor. I don't want to take away from that. That's none of his business how a fan perceives something. Same to Rachel Zegler. Same to the stars of The Acolyte. Get over yourself. You are not owed anything from us. You are supposed to entertain us with the content that you produce, with the television, with the movies. So you can't get mad at us just because we don't like the slop that you are giving us. And that goes double for you, Rachel Zegler. If you liked that video, be sure to give it a like, share it out to all your friends, let them know what you thought about it, and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell so you get notifications when I post a new vidcast, and consider becoming a channel member where you get all kinds of perks. If you don't want to support me on big tech, click on the link to my locals community. It's in the description of the video. You can send me tips or become a monthly subscriber. It really helps out small indie creators like myself. You can also pick up one of my novels. They're all available on Amazon. Search for Cacophony, The Seven Royals, or my latest novella, Blessed Child. If you're a fan of fantasy fiction or supernatural thrillers, you'll love them. Pick yourself up a copy. Give me a 5-star review. Again, it really helps me out. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time right here on StudioJake. 'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die